The gym smelled like varnish and paper programs. Brass notes bounced off rafters. I could feel the tape edge under my heel as we lined up. The banner read, "Class of Tomorrow" in bright blue. I breathed slow, hands steady, shoulders back. My name was 3 cards away. I could see the dean at the podium. I could hear my mother clap before it was time. A drum roll rattled the bleachers. "Don't trip, Bella," Mark whispered. 7 words, a grin that said he owned the aisle. I kept my eyes on the stage steps. My palms were dry. The tassel brushed my jaw. The line moved. 1 step, another. The floor felt glossy under thin soles. Mark brushed past my shoulder. A fast nudge, subtle to the crowd, hard to me. My heel slid. I caught the rail with 3 fingers. The card slipped from my hand. My cap tilted. I felt the world tip, then snap back. He smiled while I fell. I saw it clear, teeth bright, eyes small, a few gasps. Then the band held a note. I stood, smoothed the gown, picked up my card. A whisper rose like wind on bleachers. "You okay?" Denise said. Behind me. "I'm fine," I said, voice even, breath steady. Mark's voice rode the drumline. "Stay down, scholarship girl." 4 words. Second and final taunt. I climbed the stairs. No rush. The dean's hand hovered. The microphone popped. The crowd waited. I felt the rail under my palm. Solid. Cool. My name card was bent. The ink still read, Bella Morales. The dean leaned in. "Take a breath," he said. His tie smelled like aftershave and new cloth. 1 step from the top. 1 breath from the mic. The band cut to silence. The lights warmed my face. I could taste dry air and metal. I lifted my chin. I looked at Mark. I let the moment settle like dust on a sunny shelf. The dean reached for the mic, and then the fire alarm chirped once. Cliffhanger beat. I grew up counting tips in a cracked ledger. Diner coffee stained the edges. Betty kept nickels in an old jar marked honest days. I wiped counters till my wrists hummed. Friday night smelled like bacon and furniture polish. The jukebox coughed up a scratched 70s ballad. I liked the quiet between notes. Mom worked double shifts at the clinic. Dad fixed small engines out back. Gasoline and cut grass lived in his shirt sleeves. We saved for books in a shoebox. We saved for gowns in a brown bag. We saved for dignity, 1 quiet choice at a time. Mark did not save. Mark collected. Photos, laughs, favors. His father chaired the booster club. His uncle printed the banners. His name ran wide on the basketball wall. He spoke like hallways belonged to him. He cut lines with a raised eyebrow. Teachers sighed and let him pass. I kept my head down. I carried trays at Betty's diner and tucked dollars into envelopes. I pressed the edges flat. I wrote totals in the ledger. No flourishes, just numbers. I liked the way ink made promises and kept them. "College can wait," Mark told me once. He leaned on the soda fountain, elbow on chrome, smile set. "Some of us are already there." I rinsed a mug. "Some of us are already working," I said. He laughed. He left a quarter tip. I pocketed it. Quarters buy paper. Paper buys plans. At night, I drafted logos on receipt backs. I traced letters with a fountain pen from the VFW rummage sale. The veteran who sold it said it outlived 2 wars and 1 divorce. He winked. I believed him. The nib scratched like a cricket on summer steps. By spring, I had a tiny client list. Church bake sale, Legion fish fry, the library board's silent auction. I made simple flyers and crisp tickets, black on white, names spelled right, times clear, people noticed. Quiet work travels. Mark noticed too. "Cute hobby," he said in the hall. "We'll leave the big stuff to grown-ups." I smiled. "Make sure the grown-ups spell your name," He rolled his eyes. He had a new jacket that smelled like leather polish. He liked to stand where lights caught him. Back to the gym. Back to the breath. Back to the drum line and the rail. The alarm chirp died. The crowd exhaled. The dean adjusted the mic. The card bent in my hand. I touched the edge of my cap. I thought one steady thought. Dignity first. Words later. Snap back. To present. The PA popped again. The principal waved from the side. The band found its measure. The light warmed my skin. I could feel the seam of the gown against my wrist. Mark took his diploma with a flourish. He posed to the left. He posed to the right. He mouthed, "Thank you, coach," to the camera bank. Applause rose and fell like a shallow tide. He stopped at the end of the ramp. He waited there. He angled his body for the perfect view of me. The grin stayed. He wanted a second stumble. He wanted a second story for after parties. "Next name," the dean said. I stepped up. I gave the dean the bent card. He read my name slow and clear. Bella Morales. I shook his hand, firm, brief. I felt dry paper and warm skin. The gym answered, with a clean clap line. Betty's hands were the loudest. I could pick them from 1,000. The sound was bright and honest. As I turned for the photo, Mark moved closer to the ramp. He tilted his foot near the edge, not quite in my path, close enough to make a choice. I did not look at him. I looked past him. I looked at the bleacher row where the Legion caps sat in a neat line. Mr. Walter adjusted his brim. The patch caught the light. He gave me one nod. Small. Solid. I held the diploma case. It was empty cardboard for now. It still felt like weight. Smile, the photographer said. I smiled with my eyes. Just enough. No extra shine. The flash bloomed and faded. Mark whispered, without moving his lips. Nobody will remember you, I breathed. We'll see. I stepped down the ramp. My gown brushed the rail. I passed within an inch of his shoe. I did not touch him. My shoulder felt cool air and then warm air. I kept walking. In the lobby, the scent changed to popcorn and new paint. The school had fresh banners that read, "Future starts here." The kerning was off by a hair. I filed the flaw away like a seam ripper in a drawer. Denise caught my arm. "After photos at Betty's," she said. "Everyone's going." "Everyone," I said. The word felt right. Near the trophy case stood a delivery tube. Cardboard, white cap, label with my name. My heartbeat found a new rhythm. I had forgotten. It would come today, right on time. I lifted the tube cap. I did not open it. Not yet. Mark saw the label. "What's that?" he said. I met his eyes. "A plan." He laughed. "Cute." The janitor rolled out a ladder. He leaned it near the entrance. Arch. He checked a clipboard. He looked at me. "We hang these first thing in the morning," he said. "What are they?" Denise asked. "New wall set," he said. "Contract says by 9. "What walls?" Mark said. The janitor tapped the arch. "All of them." My hands rested on the tube. I watched the janitor wheel the ladder under the arch. The camera flash popped again behind us. Visual cliffhanger. Betty's Diner opened early on Saturdays. The bell over the door chimed like a friendly coin. Coffee hissed on the hot plate. The jukebox found a slow groove. I set the tube on the counter. I opened the cap. I slid out a rolled sheet and a manila folder with the district seal. "Morning." "Kiddo," Betty said. "You did fine." I stood back up. I said. "That's the trick," she said. The door jingled again. Denise, then Coach, then Mr. Walter from the Legion, then Mom and Dad with wind on their coats. People like coffee. After a long day, Mark walked in last. He scanned the room like he was counting votes. He took a stool with a squeak. The leather smelled like sugar and polish. I unrolled the first sheet on the counter. The paper was heavy, the ink crisp. The diner lights made the letters glow. City Partnership Campaign, it read at the top. Then a logo, then a line. Commission Design Lead, Bella Morales. The folder held the contract. Signatures in blue ink, district, city, library board, Legion Post, 6-month install, deliverables listed neat, banner sets, window clings, wayfinding, decals, donor walls, sponsor plaques, all layouts approved, all names spelled right. Betty whistled low. "Look at that," she said. Mark laughed. "Student mock-ups," he said. "Cute." Mr. Walter tapped the seal. "City contract," he said. "That's not cute. That's work." I lifted the second sheet. It showed proof for the school walls. 12 panels with rotating honorees. 3 designs for the entrance arch. 1 for the gym. 1 for the hall outside the library. Each panel carried a header block with the campaign title. The header read, "Our graduates build tomorrow." The subhead read, "Designed by Bella." Next day, every wall carried my name, not because I asked, because the contract required attribution in 6-point under every header, because we wrote it that way to inspire kids who stacked shifts and kept ledgers, because names matter when work is quiet. Mark's grin bent at the edges. Color drained a shade. His reflection in the pie case looked smaller. "Who signed this?" he said. I slid the folder across the counter. He read the signatures. He saw the blue ink. He saw the city seal raised like a coin under light. "Since when?" he said. "Since winter," I said. "Since the bake sale needed tickets. Since the Legion needed a board. Since people kept asking who makes clean things on time." He looked at the mock-ups. He looked at the door. He looked at the coffee. Denise snapped a photo. "This is huge," she said. "Work," I said. "Just work." The bell chimed. The janitor stepped in with a clipboard. Behind him, 2 installers rolled a cart with fresh panels wrapped in paper. He raised a hand. "We start at 9, he said. "School, then library, then City Hall." "City Hall," Mark said. "Everywhere," the janitor said. "All the walls." Mark swallowed. The sound was small. He held the contract and found no joke. Antagonist turns pale. We walked back to the school as the sun found the brick. The air smelled like cut grass and cool metal from the flagpole. The installers set the ladder under the arch. Paper peeled, panels lifted. The first header went up straight and true. Parents gathered. Teachers, too. The principal folded his hands. He read the line under the header. He looked at me. He nodded once. Betty handed out diner coffee in paper cups. Steam curled like ribbon. Mr. Walter stood with his cap in his hands. He smiled a little at the clean corners. Mark stood near the trophy case. He stared at the panel. He traced the small line with his eyes. Designed by Bella. His name was on a smaller certificate above a JV photo. It looked fine. It did not glow. He walked over. He kept his voice low. "You set this up." "I did the work," I said. He glanced at the crowd. "You could have told me." "You could have helped," I said. He looked at his shoes. The polish looked dull. The light had shifted. "Graduates to the arch," the principal called. "Photos for the morning paper." The clickers began. Shutters sounded like 100 soft taps. I took my spot at the end of the front row. I did not pose. I stood as I am. Hands easy. Shoulders square. Breath slow. Mark hovered behind the group. No spotlight. No mic. No grin that worked today. Denise leaned in. "You okay?" "I'm steady," I said. The janitor tightened one last screw. The panel settled flat. The line caught the sun for a second. Designed by Bella. Small, clear. Thought one thought. Work speaks. Noise fades. The photographer raised a hand. 3, 2, 1. The shutters rolled like light rain on a porch roof. Soft. Even. Lasting. I met Mark's eyes once. Not long, not sharp. Respect outlives wealth, I said. He looked down. He had learned the shape of quiet. I walked to Betty's for refills. The bell chimed. The jukebox tried a different old tune. My ledger waited in my bag. Numbers keep promises. Ink keeps time. Behind me, the school walls told a simple truth in small type. Designed by Bella. The room did not fall silent. It did not need to. Final silence beat.